Buy your sweet oranges. The sweetest in the village.
Keep selling yourself in the name of oranges.
I'm just selling my oranges.
Everyone in the market whispered about her. Some out of envy, some out of awe. But no one could ignore the orange seller with the big backside, whose laughter could turn the day upside down and whose secrets could ruin lives. Chinara balanced her crate of oranges on her head with the kind of ease that only came from years of practice and a stubborn pride she carried like armor. Her stand, painted bright yellow and orange, was the liveliest spot in Oak Ebo Market, bustling with sellers shouting prices, children running between stalls, and women bargaining fiercely over tomatoes and yams. She swayed slightly, her curves unmistakable under the loose wrapper skirt she wore, and every head turned. Not just because of her oranges but because of her presence, the kind that made even the grumpy market men smile. Ah, fresh oranges though, juicy and sweet. Only 500 naira for a basket. Come closer, my dear people, she shouted, her voice full of energy and mischief. From the corner of her eye, she noticed Mabel and Funk, two younger sellers whose stands were right next to hers. Their smiles were too tight, their eyes sharp. Chinara knew the look well, envy. See them again, she muttered under her breath, flipping her head to shake loose a stray strand of hair. Thinking they can compete with me, let them try. A few customers laughed as Chinara tossed an orange in the air and caught it behind her back. Ah, who can do this better? Only me, oh, she said, winking at a group of schoolgirls passing by. The day was hot, the kind of heat that made even the oranges sweat. But Chinara thrived in it. She loved the chaos, the shouting, the bargaining. It was the rhythm of her life. Every day at the market was a battlefield, and she was a queen defending her territory. Then he appeared, a tall man, wearing a white shirt that looked too expensive for the market, stepped toward her stand. His shoes were polished. His eyes were calculating. He didn't look like someone who came for oranges. Good morning, madam. Are your oranges really as sweet as they say? He asked, his voice smooth, almost too smooth. Chinara sized him up, her instincts prickling. Most men in the market were either businessmen looking to bargain or young boys trying to flirt. But this one, something was off. You can taste for yourself, sir. Only the freshest. If it's not sweet, I'll give you 2 free baskets. The man smiled, and Chinara felt an unusual chill run down her spine. There was a kind of danger in his calmness, a story hidden behind those sharp eyes. Meanwhile, Mabel whispered to Funk across the aisle, "See the new guy? I think he's here for Chinara, not the oranges." Funk's eyes widened. "Hush, don't talk so loud. People are listening." Chinara caught snippets of their whispers. She smirked, tossing another orange in the air, as if daring them to try and compete with her charm. Let them talk, she thought. It won't be long before they regret ever crossing me. As the sun climbed higher, a commotion erupted near the vegetable stalls. A fight broke out between 2 tomato sellers over pricing, drawing the attention of most buyers. Chinara took advantage of the distraction, laughing and waving her oranges at the crowd, selling more baskets than ever. But her instincts were right. Something about the man lingered in her mind. He bought a basket, handed her crisp bills, and left without another word. Yet, as he disappeared into the crowd, she felt the weight of unseen eyes, like the market itself was holding its breath, waiting. Ah, the market never sleeps, and neither do I, she whispered, wiping sweat from her forehead. Little did she know, this was the start of a story that would change her life, where envy, danger, and secrets collided in ways no one in Oak Ebo Market could imagine. The morning sun had barely broken through the dusty skies of Oak Ebo Market, but the market was already alive with its usual chaos. Women shouting over prices, children weaving between stalls, the scent of roasted plantains and fresh fish hanging in the air. Chinara arranged her oranges meticulously, lining them in perfect rows, her fingers moving as deftly as a pianist. Her stand gleamed with color, a beacon amidst the mundane stalls. And as always, heads turned, not just because of her oranges, but because of her aura, the kind that made even the busiest shoppers pause. She was mid-laugh, teasing a young boy who insisted on tasting an orange before buying it. When she felt it, a presence, deliberate and heavy. Her eyes flicked up, and there he was, the same man from yesterday, standing a few meters away, watching. Not shuffling through the oranges, not haggling like a normal buyer. Just watching. Chinara's heartbeat skipped a beat. Something about him felt dangerous yet magnetic. She tilted her head, a mischievous smile playing on her lips. "Ah, another visitor to my kingdom," she whispered under her breath. The man walked closer. His movements were smooth, controlled, as if every step was measured. He stopped in front of her stand, but he didn't reach for an orange immediately. Instead, he looked straight into her eyes, and Chinara felt the weight of scrutiny. "Good morning again, madam," he said, his voice calm, almost hypnotic. "Do you always sell the sweetest oranges? Or is it just luck that I got the best yesterday?" Chinara raised an eyebrow, her competitive fire lighting up. "It's no luck, sir. These oranges are like me. They're special. Sweet, bold, and unforgettable. Only the best for those who can appreciate them." He chuckled softly, a sound that made her chest tighten. "I see you're confident. I like that." Chinara's instincts screamed caution, but she played it cool. She handed him a basket of oranges, her fingers brushing his slightly, intentionally. "Then enjoy, sir. But remember, one bite and you'll want the whole market." He smiled and took the basket, his eyes lingering just a second too long. "I might just come back for more," he said, his tone almost teasing. And with that, he vanished into the crowd. Chinara watched him go, feeling a strange mix of curiosity and unease. She turned back to her oranges, trying to shake off the feeling, but the market never truly calmed her mind. Meanwhile, whispers spread like wildfire. Mabel and Funk were at it again, eyes narrowing, voices low but venomous. "See her? She's flirting with everyone that passes. That basket of oranges is just an excuse," Mabel hissed. "Hush, don't be obvious. The man might hear you," Funk replied, her face pale with jealousy. Chinara caught the tail end of their whispers. She smirked. "Let them talk, let them stew," she thought. "They'll see soon enough who the real queen of the market is." The rest of the morning passed in a blur of laughter, haggling, and playful teasing. Chinara's charm drew customers like a magnet, and yet, she couldn't ignore the stranger's shadow over her thoughts. By noon, the market was at its busiest. Vendors shouted, drums of water clanged, and the scent of fried akara mixed with the dusty air. And then he appeared again. This time, Chinara noticed something different. He didn't just buy a basket. He watched her interactions with other customers, noting her gestures, her laughter, her confidence. It was unsettling. "You really have a way with people," he said softly, stepping closer. "It's rare to see someone who commands attention without even trying." Chinara's grin was sly, almost teasing. "And you? Are you always this observant, sir? Or am I special?" He laughed, the sound low and deliberate. "Perhaps a little of both." Her heart raced, but Chinara's mind was sharp. Something told her he wasn't here just for oranges or admiration. There was a secret tucked behind those eyes, a hidden agenda that could either be dangerous or lucrative. The rest of the day blurred into the usual market chaos, but Chinara's thoughts remained on him. Who was he? Why did he return? And most importantly, could she trust him? That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in orange and pink, Chinara packed her stand. She walked through the emptying market, still feeling the weight of his gaze following her steps, a presence she couldn't shake. "Ah, Chinara," she whispered to herself, her voice carrying a mix of excitement and wariness. "This is just the beginning. Something tells me your life is about to get far more interesting." Mabel and Funk, the two younger sellers who had been scheming since the day Chinara arrived, had gathered a small group of loyal followers. Their voices were low, coated with poison. "Did you hear what she said yesterday?" Mabel hissed, leaning close to a circle of women. "She's acting like the whole market belongs to her, and that man, I heard he's from a rich family. Funk nodded, eyes flicking toward Chinara's stand across the aisle. If she thinks she can charm her way into wealth, she's wrong. That man is dangerous, and he'll ruin her if she's not careful. Word spread like wildfire. Within hours, rumors about Chinara's past and character began circulating, twisted with jealousy and malice. Some said she had stolen money from a previous lover. Others whispered that she was involved with powerful men to climb the social ladder. None of it was true, but rumors rarely needed truth to sting. Chinara, of course, was aware. Her sharp eyes caught the sideways glances, the smirks, the subtle pointing of fingers. But instead of anger, she let a sly smile curl her lips. "Let them talk," she muttered, flipping an orange between her hands. "Gossip is free entertainment, and I am priceless." Her mind drifted for a moment. She remembered her past, back when she lived in the city, when betrayal had taught her the hard way that trust was a luxury for fools. A boyfriend who promised love had stolen her savings. A so-called friend had tried to set her up for humiliation. Chinara had learned to fight back, cleverly, quietly, and with style. But the market was different. Here, she was both admired and feared, a magnet for attention and jealousy alike. And now, the mysterious stranger she had met 2 days ago was quietly observing, a shadow in her otherwise chaotic world. The first major confrontation came by midday. A group of women crowded around her stand, whispering loudly enough for some customers to overhear. "You think you're better than everyone here?" one woman sneered. "Selling oranges like that, flaunting yourself, who do you think you are?" Chinara's lips curled into a grin that was both playful and deadly. "Better? Perhaps. But I do know who I am. And if you want to learn, you're welcome to try. Otherwise, buy some oranges and mind your business." The crowd of women gasped. A few laughed nervously, unsure whether to side with her or stay quiet. Chinara's presence dominated the space, a mixture of confidence, charm, and unspoken danger. The whispers didn't stop. By afternoon, a rumor reached the ears of a wealthy businessman, Mr. Obina, who occasionally visited the market to inspect potential investments. The gossip painted Chinara as a clever, ambitious woman with connections and audacity, someone who could be useful or dangerous. Intrigued, he sent a young aide to observe her. The aide returned with glowing reports. Chinara was not only charismatic but smart, resourceful, and unafraid to stand her ground. Mr. Obina's interest was piqued, and he began plotting a way to meet her personally. Meanwhile, Chinara felt the market's energy shift. The usual laughter, bargaining, and playful teasing was now tinged with envy and tension. Every whisper, every sideways glance, felt like a spark ready to ignite a fire. "It's getting serious," she murmured to herself while stacking oranges into neat pyramids. "But I'm ready. Let them come. Let the lies fly. They'll see soon enough that I am not just an orange seller. I am Chinara." By the end of the day, the market had transformed from chaos to a battleground of whispers and secrets. Chinara packed her stand carefully, sensing that the events unfolding were just the beginning. That evening, as she walked home, she noticed the mysterious man again, leaning against a wall just beyond the market. He didn't approach her this time. Instead, he watched silently, a knowing smile on his face. Chinara's pulse quickened. She understood one thing clearly. Someone is watching me, and they know more than they let on. The market no longer felt the same to Chinara. Where there had once been only noise, laughter, and bargaining, there was now something else in the air: expectation. Every glance felt heavier. Every smile seemed forced. Even the wind that carried dust across Okibo Market felt like it was whispering secrets. Chinara arrived early that morning, earlier than usual. She set up her stand in silence, arranging her oranges carefully, stacking them into bright pyramids that glowed in the soft morning light. Her movements were slower, more deliberate. Her mind replayed the events of the past few days. The stranger's eyes, the rumors, the way people suddenly treated her like she was either royalty or trouble. She straightened her wrapper skirt and lifted her chin. "Whatever is coming," She told herself, I will face it standing. Customers began to trickle in. Some greeted her warmly. Others avoided eye contact. A few stared openly, curiosity and judgment mixed together. Chinara responded with her usual charm, cracking jokes, teasing buyers, and tossing oranges into baskets with playful flair. But inside, she was alert, very alert. By mid-morning, a black SUV rolled slowly past the edge of the market. Cars like that didn't belong here. The engine purred softly before coming to a stop near the fabric sellers. Two men stepped out first, both dressed neatly, scanning the surroundings like guards. Then a third man emerged. Chinara recognized him immediately. Mr. Obina. She had seen him before from a distance. A wealthy businessman known for investing in small enterprises and property across the city. People said he had started from nothing. Others said he had stepped on many people to reach the top. Either way, his name carried weight. Murmurs rippled through the market. That's Obina. Ah, the big man. What is he doing here? Chinara felt every eye drift toward her stand. Mr. Obina walked slowly, confidently, until he stopped right in front of her oranges. He studied her the way one studies land before buying it. Chinara didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled. Good morning, sir, she said brightly. Welcome to the best orange stand in Oak Ibo Market. He chuckled. So you're Chinara. Her smile tightened slightly. Yes, sir. And you are. He raised an eyebrow. You already know who I am. She nodded. People talk. Mr. Obina reached for an orange, rolling it in his palm. They talk a lot about you too. Chinara crossed her arms lightly over her chest. Good or bad, sir? He looked up at her, his eyes sharp. Both. A small crowd began to form at a respectful distance. Mabel and Funk hovered nearby, pretending to arrange their goods while straining to hear every word. Mr. Obina took a bite of the orange, chewed slowly, then nodded in approval. Sweet, he said, just like they said. Chinara tilted her head. I don't sell lies here, sir. He smiled faintly. That's good, because I don't like lies either. Then he leaned closer. I've been watching you. Her heartbeat quickened, but her face remained calm. In business, sir, or in life? He studied her for a moment. In potential. Those words landed heavily. He straightened up and gestured toward the SUV. Walk with me. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Chinara hesitated for half a second. Then she wiped her hands on her apron and followed him. They stopped beside the vehicle, away from curious ears. Mr. Obina folded his hands behind his back. You're smart, he began. You know how to attract customers. You know how to handle pressure. And you don't look like someone who plans to sell oranges forever. Chinara said nothing. He continued. I want to help you grow. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Grow how? I own warehouses, distribution channels, transport. With the right support, you could move from this small stand to supplying fruit across the city. Her chest tightened. This was bigger than she expected. And what do you get in return? She asked quietly. Mr. Obina smiled. Partnership, loyalty, and discretion. Chinara absorbed his words carefully. Opportunity had a smell. So did danger. She had learned long ago that gifts from powerful people always came with invisible ropes. She looked him straight in the eye. I don't like being owned, sir. He laughed softly. Good. I don't need to own you. I need you to be useful. The bluntness startled her. He handed her a business card. Think about it. I'll give you 3 days. She took the card. As she turned to leave, she noticed someone standing across the road. The mysterious stranger. He wasn't smiling this time. He was watching Mr. Obina with quiet intensity. Their eyes met briefly. Something unspoken passed between them. Back at her stand, Chinara found Mabel waiting. So now you're moving with big men? Mabel sneered. Be careful. People who rise too fast usually fall harder. Chinara placed the business card into her pocket and smiled slowly. Thank you for your concern. Her voice was sweet. Her eyes were not. That night, Chinara lay awake on her thin mattress, staring at the ceiling. Mr. Obina's offer echoed in her mind. So did the stranger's silent gaze. She turned the business card over and over in her fingers. This was the moment, the crossroad. Stay small and safe, or step into something bigger and risk everything. She closed her eyes. Whatever she chose next would change her life forever. Chinara did not sleep well that night. Mr. Obina's offer replayed in her mind like a stubborn drumbeat, each echo louder than the last. Warehouses, distribution, growth, money, respect. And then there was the stranger. His silent stare had followed her all the way home, even though she hadn't seen him again. Somehow she could still feel it, heavy, watchful, deliberate. By morning, she had made up her mind about one thing. She would not rush. The market greeted her with its usual chaos. But Chinara walked in differently that day. Her steps were measured, her eyes sharper. She arranged her oranges with extra care, wiping each one clean, as if polishing more than fruit, like she was preparing herself for something bigger. Customers came and went. Some congratulated her on catching the attention of a big man. Others warned her to be careful. Mabel and Funk stayed unusually quiet, exchanging knowing looks whenever Chinara turned her back. Then, just before noon, she felt it again. That presence. She looked up. The stranger stood across the aisle, hands in his pockets, watching her. This time, he didn't pretend to browse. He walked straight toward her. Her heart skipped. "Good afternoon, Chinara." She blinked. "You know my name now?" He smiled faintly. "It's hard not to, when half the market talks about you." She crossed her arms. "So, are you here for oranges, or for gossip?" He chuckled. "Neither." That answer made her uneasy. He gestured toward a quiet corner near the grain stalls. "Can we talk?" Every instinct told her to refuse, but curiosity won. She followed him. They stopped where the noise of the market softened into distant echoes. Up close, she noticed the faint scar near his left eyebrow. His eyes held stories, dark ones. "My name is Daniel," he said. "And before you ask, yes, I've been watching you." Chinara let out a short laugh. "You men don't even hide it anymore. This isn't like that." She studied him. "Then explain." He took a breath. "Mr. Obina approached you yesterday." Her jaw tightened. "Yes, I thought so." His reaction confirmed her suspicion. "You know him?" Daniel nodded slowly. "Too well." Chinara's heart began to race. "What does that mean?" "It means whatever he offers comes with chains." She folded her arms tighter. "So now you're my warning angel?" He met her gaze. "No, I'm someone who's seen what he does to people." Silence stretched between them. Chinara broke it. "Why should I trust you?" Daniel hesitated. Then he said quietly, "Because I have nothing to gain from lying to you." Something in his tone felt real. Against her better judgment, Chinara felt herself soften. Over the next few days, Daniel became a regular presence. He bought oranges, helped her carry crates, even chased away a thief once when someone tried to snatch her phone. Slowly, naturally, he became part of her daily routine. They talked about life, about struggle, about dreams. He told her he once worked in corporate business but walked away after things turned ugly. She told him about her past in the city, the betrayal that forced her back to the market, and how she rebuilt herself from nothing. One evening, as they sat on a low bench outside her room eating roasted corn, Daniel said softly, "You're stronger than you realize, Chinara." She smiled. "Strength is survival." Their eyes met. Something shifted. What started as caution slowly turned into comfort, then into warmth, then into something dangerously close to love. But not everyone was happy. Mabel watched from a distance, her jealousy growing teeth. Funk whispered that Chinara was climbing too fast, and Mr. Obina noticed Daniel's growing presence. One afternoon, Obina arrived unexpectedly. He found Daniel helping Chinara load oranges into a wheelbarrow. The air went cold. "So," Obina said calmly, "this is where you disappeared to." Daniel straightened. "Hello, sir." Their eyes locked. There was history there. Ugly history. Obina smiled thinly. "Still playing hero?" Daniel said nothing. Chinara felt trapped between two worlds. Later that day, Obina pulled Chinara aside. "Be careful with that man," he warned. "He's not what he seems." That night, Daniel said the same thing about Obina. Two men. Two warnings. One woman in the middle. Chinara lay awake again, staring into darkness. Her heart was getting involved. An experience had taught her that love mixed with power always ended in blood or tears. Still, when Daniel held her hand for the first time, she didn't pull away. She told herself she could handle it. She always did. But deep down, she knew something terrible was forming beneath the surface. Love had entered the story, and with it, deception. Envy does not announce itself. It waits. It watches. And when the time is right, it strikes. By now, Chinara could feel it everywhere. In the way conversations stopped when she walked past. In the way smiles disappeared too quickly. In the way Mabel and Funk huddled together, whispering like snakes curled in dry grass. She tried to ignore it. She focused on her oranges, on Daniel's quiet support, on the small joy of watching customers bite into fruit and smile. But envy does not care about peace. It wants destruction. The plan was already in motion. It started with a lie. Early that morning, Funk approached the yam sellers with a trembling voice. "I don't know if I should say this," she whispered, glancing around nervously. "But I saw Chinara taking money from one of the vegetable women yesterday. She said it was a loan. But the woman hasn't been able to find her purse since." The yam sellers gasped. Mabel carried the story further. By noon, the lie had grown wings. Now it wasn't just missing money. Now Chinara had become a thief. By early afternoon, the market buzzed with tension. Chinara noticed customers hesitating before approaching her stand. Some stared openly. Others whispered. She tried to laugh it off. But then it happened. A loud scream cut through the air. "My money! My money is gone!" Everyone turned. A middle-aged woman stormed toward Chinara's stand, eyes blazing. "You!" she shouted. "You're the one!" Chinara froze. "Madam, what are you talking about?" "My 2,000 naira. It disappeared after I bought oranges from you." The crowd gathered instantly. Mabel pushed forward dramatically. I didn't want to say anything, but I heard something like this before." Funk added, pretending to be shocked. "Yes, people have been complaining." Chinara felt the ground shift beneath her feet. "That's a lie," she said firmly. "I did not take anyone's money." The woman pointed at her. "Search her bag." Voices joined in. "Yes, search it. Check her pockets. This girl thinks she's too big now." Chinara's chest tightened. Humiliation burned her throat. Just then, Daniel stepped forward. "Enough," he said sharply. "You can't accuse someone without proof." But the crowd was already drunk on drama. Before Chinara could stop them, two women grabbed her bag. They emptied it onto the dusty ground. Oranges rolled away. Her phone fell. Her small savings purse landed with a soft thud. Everyone stared. There was no stolen money. Silence spread. The accusing woman blinked. Mabel shifted uncomfortably. Funk swallowed hard. Daniel picked up Chinara's purse and handed it back to her gently. "You see," Chinara said, her voice shaking but strong. "Nothing." For a moment, it seemed the storm had passed. Then Funk spoke. "But what about inside her wrapper?" Chinara's eyes widened. "That was too far." "You will not touch me," Chinara said coldly. The crowd hesitated. Her voice carried something dangerous now. She stepped forward. "I sell oranges. I don't steal. And anyone who says otherwise should come forward and swear with their life." No one moved. The accusing woman mumbled something and backed away. But Chinara knew the damage was already done. Her dignity had been dragged through dust. She packed her stand in silence that evening. Daniel walked beside her. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. She shook her head. "This is not your fault." But inside, something had broken. That night, Chinara cried. Not loudly, not dramatically, just silent tears sliding down her face as she stared at the wall. She remembered the city, the betrayal, The way people always tried to pull her down when she started rising. She wiped her eyes, and something hardened inside her. The next morning, Chinara returned to the market dressed differently. Her wrapper was sharp, her blouse crisp, her posture unbreakable. She greeted no one. She smiled at no one. Mabel felt it immediately. Funk avoided her gaze, because Chinara was no longer just defending herself. She was awakening. She leaned over her oranges and whispered, "You tried to disgrace me." Her lips curved slowly. "Now I will show you what crazy really means." The market remembered everything. Every argument, every betrayal, every fall from grace. And now it remembered Chinara's humiliation. Though people still bought her oranges, their smiles were cautious, their questions polite but probing. Even laughter felt forced around her stand. The accusation had planted a seed, and seeds of doubt grew quickly in Oak-Ibo Market. But Chinara was no longer the same woman. Something inside her had shifted. She spoke less, watched more, listened carefully. She noticed who whispered with who avoided her eyes, who suddenly became too friendly. And she noticed Daniel. He had become quieter too. He still helped her carry crates, still stood nearby when business slowed, still walked her home in the evenings. But there was something heavy in him now, like a man carrying unfinished business. One evening, Chinara stopped him outside her room. "You've been distant," she said. Daniel looked away. "I'm just tired." She folded her arms. "No, you're hiding something." He exhaled slowly. She waited. Finally, he spoke. "Mr. Obina and we didn't just meet recently." Her heart tightened. "I knew it." Daniel leaned against the wall. "I used to work for him. Years ago. I handled logistics for his companies, imports, distribution, contracts." Chinara's eyes widened. "So you're part of his world." "I was." "What happened?" His jaw clenched. "I discovered he was laundering money through small vendors and markets, using people who didn't even know they were being used." Her breath caught. "You mean people like me?" Daniel nodded slowly. "I confronted him. He framed me for missing funds, ruined my career. I barely escaped prison." Silence swallowed them. Chinara felt cold spread through her chest. "So when he offered me partnership, he was setting a trap," Daniel said. "He always does. He starts small, makes you feel special. Then he ties you into something dirty." Her hands trembled. "And you didn't tell me earlier because?" Daniel met her eyes. "Because I didn't want to scare you." She laughed bitterly. "Too late." That night, Chinara barely slept. Her mind replayed everything. The rumors, the sudden attention, the false theft accusation, Mr. Obina's sudden interest. It all began to connect. She realized something terrifying. She hadn't been targeted because she was weak. She had been targeted because she was strong, visible, and rising. The next day confirmed it. Mr. Obina sent for her. Not to the market, to his office. Daniel begged her not to go alone. But Chinara refused to hide. She wore a simple dress and walked into the tall glass building like a woman walking into court. Mr. Obina greeted her warmly. "My rising star," he said. "Sit." She sat. He poured juice. She didn't touch it. "I've been thinking," he continued. "Your business has potential. With my backing, you could open 3 new locations within months." Chinara leaned forward. "And what exactly would I be distributing?" He smiled. "Fruit." "Officially." Her stomach dropped. "Unofficially." He didn't answer. That was answer enough. She stood. "I'm not interested anymore." His smile faded slightly. "That's disappointing." She turned to leave. His voice followed her. "Be careful who you listen to, Chinara. Some men pretend to protect you while hiding their own sins." She stopped. Without turning, she said calmly, "If I fall standing." Outside, Daniel was waiting. He searched her face. She nodded. He confirmed everything. That evening, Chinara sat alone in her room. She finally understood. She was surrounded by enemies. Mabel and Funk were small problems. Mr. Obina was a storm. And Daniel, Daniel was both shield and liability. She pressed her palms together. Her life had become a chessboard, and she had just discovered she was already on the board. She whispered into the quiet room, "They think I'm just an orange seller." Her eyes hardened. Let them keep thinking that. The warning signs were everywhere. Chinara just hadn't wanted to see them. The way Blessing suddenly became extra friendly. The way she started offering to help close Chinara's stand. The way she asked too many questions about Daniel. Blessing had been one of the few market women who defended Chinara during the theft accusation. She brought her food sometimes, sat with her when business was slow, listened when Chinara talked about her dreams. Chinara had trusted her. That was her mistake. It happened on a Thursday evening. The market had almost emptied. Vendors packed their goods. The air smelled of dust and fading heat. Daniel had left earlier to meet someone about casual work. Blessing approached Chinara with a worried look. "Chinara, please help me," she said breathlessly. "My cousin collapsed behind the storage sheds. I don't know what to do." Chinara's heart jumped. "Collapsed? Where?" "Just behind the old rice warehouse." Without thinking, Chinara locked her stand and followed. They walked past quiet stalls, through narrow paths between abandoned crates. The area was unusually silent. Too silent. Chinara slowed. "Blessing? Where exactly?" Blessing stopped, then turned. Her face was different, hard. Two men stepped out from behind the shed. Chinara froze. Her pulse exploded. One man blocked the exit. The other smiled slowly. "Good evening, Orange Queen." Her throat went dry. "What is this?" Blessing wouldn't meet her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "They said they'd pay me. They said you're rich now." Chinara felt something tear inside her chest. "You sold me?" Blessing cried. "I don't have a choice. They promised to help my brother get out of prison." The taller man stepped closer. "Then who?" he asked, concern etched on his face. Chinara looked up, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "I don't know yet," she replied, her voice steady despite the earlier panic. "But I intend to find out." Daniel sat beside her, a protective presence. "We'll figure it out together," he assured her. She nodded, grateful for his support. The night felt heavy with unanswered questions, but at least she wasn't facing them alone. "What do you mean?" "Those men were small time. This came from someone close." Daniel frowned. Her eyes lifted slowly. "Mabel." Everything clicked. The whispers, the accusation, Blessing's sudden loyalty. Daniel exhaled. "She sold you." Chinara nodded. "But she underestimated me." The next morning, Chinara returned to the market like nothing happened. She smiled. She greeted customers. She sold oranges. But inside she was ice. She watched Mabel carefully. By afternoon, Chinara quietly approached Blessing's closest friend and told her everything. By evening, the truth had spread. Mabel tried to deny it, but Blessing, overwhelmed by guilt, confessed publicly. The market erupted. Women shouted. Men argued. Mabel ran. She didn't come back the next day. That night, Chinara stood outside her room, staring at the stars. Daniel joined her. "You could have been killed." Chinara spoke softly. "They thought I was weak." She turned to him. "They won't make that mistake again." Something in her had changed permanently. Fear had burned away. What remained was resolve. She had survived betrayal. Now she was ready for war. Pain does strange things to people. Some collapse under it. Others rise. Chinara chose to rise. After the betrayal, after the attempted kidnapping, after Mabel fled the market in shame, Chinara no longer saw herself as just another seller struggling for daily profit. She saw clearly now. Survival was not enough. She wanted control. She started small. She contacted fruit suppliers directly instead of buying through middlemen. She negotiated prices like a seasoned trader, standing firm until farmers respected her confidence. She began buying in bulk, sharing with smaller vendors for a fair commission. Within weeks, her orange stand became a mini distribution point. Street hawkers came to her. Young boys who used to roam the market now helped her push wheelbarrows for small pay. No, I'm making a statement, she replied confidently. Obina's expression shifted, realizing that Chinara was not easily intimidated. Be careful, Chinara, he warned. The market can be unforgiving. She nodded, unbothered by his threat. I know, but I have something more valuable than just a business. I have loyalty. With a final glance, Obina turned and left the stand, knowing that Chinara's determination was not something to underestimate. The Orange Queen was here to stay. So are you. For the first time, Obina saw something new in her eyes. Fearlessness. He left without another word. That night, Chinara gathered her small team. The boys, 2 elderly women sellers, 1 transport driver. Daniel, she spoke calmly. No gossip, no stealing, no fighting unless necessary. Anyone who disrespects customers leaves. They nodded. She was no longer asking. She was leading. Money improved. Her room changed. Her clothes became sharper. Her posture firmer. But success brought distance. Daniel began to feel it. She came home late. She answered calls during meals. Sometimes she fell asleep holding her phone. One night, he finally said it. You're drifting. She looked tired. I'm surviving. You don't need to do everything alone. She sighed. You don't understand. The moment I relax, they strike. He stepped closer. I'm here. She met his eyes. And that's what scares me. He froze. She turned away.